So at least we got it clarified now what the qualifications are of the 144,000. Because I know people have wanted to know because it's been very ambiguous. Like nobody's known what that means. They just hear it and they're like, oh, the 144,000, and the Jehovah Witnesses think that they have all that number completely sewn up, that all the 144,000 have been sealed. But unless they're walking in these kind of revelations, they aren't of the 144,000.
Yeah.
And I believe that this people group are people that are here now, in the flesh now. That's why the noon is on there, right?
Yeah.
They're in the flesh here now to assist now. So this can't be people. This can't be people. I mean, it can be reincarnated people, right?
Right.
So they came back again because the Qumran community totally believed that they were going to come down in the latter day generation. They were going to be here to be able to teach this.
Mm.
So it's people that are living right now that are in the flesh.
Yeah.
Everything that is written to us in this esoteric coded side is for us in our process of becoming. So when you look at it and you read it in English translations, I heard a voice from heaven as the sound of many waters, as the sound of great thunder, right? That is like just reading something from the book. This is very personal to us. It's a code to us to activate. So when you see this first word and it says, and I heard, what is the root? Shema.
Yeah.
Shema Israel. Hear intelligently and obey what you are hearing. Connect in humility and teachability to what Mother's going to present to you. Because you need to go through the consuming fires and the waters, Shem, so you can be of the named, conspicuous, honor and authority and character, and have the knowing, have the eyes to see in time, et. This is the word for time.
Mm.
So you're going to Shema in time. You will be able to see the Father's covenant. That's what's going to be revealed to you. So if you hear intelligently and obey and go through the process in time, you will be marked with his covenant because you're going to be able to see it. You're going to be able to become it. Unconditional love. So this calls out, Kuflamed. It calls out to you and says, compress light within during the circle of time. The teachings that will come to you, the teachings of light, the law of one, Aleph, that you can be a part of if you partake of your manna, because again, we've shared with that before, that mem noon is literally how you spell manna. It also means to be a part of a stringed instrument, or just to be a part of. And what are you being a part of? The Shemaya, the heavens. If you want to be part of this heavens, and this is the Aramaic form of this word. In the Hebrew, it's Shamayim, but in the Aramaic, it's Shemaya.
Mm.
And again, so we have the same thing that we did before, the Shem, those who are of the named. But now the difference is they have the power, means, and direction that has been given to them to become one who has the Christ anointing. Because it is through the power of one that will come, that will teach you the language. It will give it to you if you're willing to open your hand to receive it, tame and yoke yourself to it. That which will be revealed to you through the language of light. And then we have the sound again. So it's the same word that we saw here, same exact thing, but now we have, and this word means to call out with a loud voice. Now we have of the waters. So we have the Shammaya, and now we have the Dammaya. Do you remember in that scripture, I think you might remember this, Regina, I don't know if Jesse does, where it says the water and the blood agree?
No.
Yeah, it was, and I don't even remember what part of the book it is, but it was talking about, and these things agree, and part of it was the water, blood, and the spirit. Well, right here we have blood, dam, and we have water. So going through the door,
Maya.
yeah, Maya, the Maya, this is water.
Dam and Maya. Blood and water.
So the door that takes you inwardly through the living water teachings of Mother and Father will empower you, give you the power, means, and direction to have the Christ consciousness given to you. And Dam, when you see Dam, this always speaks of the covenant of promise. So this is the fulfillment of the covenant of promise that is given to those that are of the blood, the family of blood. One blood. That is of the many waters. And then this is the word for many. I love this. It's a Semek Gimel. So this is already telling you these are ones that have been wed. This is those that have been surrounded, protected, hedged in, supported. They've gathered and assembled together, Gam, as the Aleph Lameds, Gam El, the teachers of light, that have the power, and they give. What do they give? The twin teachings, the two Alephs. And that's the word for many. So the many waters. You know, that has been a phrase that has been the voice of many waters. It's like, it doesn't make sense in English, but when you see it from this perspective, it does. Those that will lift up the vision between the twin teachings, the two teachings that are of one, but they're separated, seamlessly divided, because they are of one. And again, for those who would connect to it, we've already gone through that. And then we have the sound of great thunder. This is shepherd, companion, friend, the people, tribesmen of Israel that are one. What did they all do? They went through the door of their inner man. They raised himself up for being poor and destitute. They have the eyes to see the teachings, and they have become one in Christ consciousness. And they multiplied. Rob, we shared that before, Reshbet. They multiplied, became great. They were raised up, and they built themselves through the Bet Tov, becoming one. So this is really, when you look at this, you can see how the Qumran community was created. Because they understood this process of what was being written by John the Revelator. Because the whole community was based on the oneness unity. And so we have the calling out again. This word here, I think it's so funny, because this word right here, ayin, means to be nothing, to be non-existent. So in Kabbalah, haven't studied it, but I've seen a lot of their imagery, the Or Ein Sof, the light that never ends, and then it's the Or Sof, the light, the light that ends, and then you get to Ein. You get into the place of nothingness. Well, it's teaching you how to become nothing. So in other words, you're totally emptying yourself of self. And how did you do it? Well, you had to take the spiritual path. You were given the power to do so through the twin teachings again, the two Alephs, Mother and Father, that teach you to be nothing, no self, getting rid of and annihilating of self so that you can be of one. And then again, we have the Shema. Hear the covenant. Hear and do the Father's covenant. So the last part on this, I am so not even getting close to what I wanted to share with you guys today because it just takes so long. And that's okay. I'm not wanting to really skip over much because this is really important stuff. The harpers striking on their harps. So you know how we've been given images of all these people sitting on fluffy clouds and striking a harp,
Mm-hmm.
wondering where that came from and the imagery that it came from?
Mm.
We're gonna look.
There it is.
Actually, I think I have it written down on my
But it might be something different, huh?
Yeah, hold on just a second. House of the Eye. We're in verse 2. Yeah. Yeah. This is really shocking to me because this word also, it means to knock. It means to knock. When I dug this out to find the different messages. So when Yeshua says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock,"
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go into it here.
So the striking is the knocking.
Yes, it means to knock. Pick up the other one now. Sorry. Where are you? There you are, I think. Yep. Okay. So this is a harpist, a musician that knocks. So I'm going to pull up the Klein's. It's crazy. So we're going to first look. I'm going to have to do another screen share with you guys, and we're going to dig a little bit deeper on this. Because even in the Hebrew, there's not much that is said about this at all. Because this is this is where I look at this of the overlay. I had shared with Regina before, Jesse, about how the Hebrew and the Aramaic overlay one another. Like there's a transparency that is set upon the other, so you can see through and you can see both of them coming together as one, because it's a depth and a layer that we need. So we have the divine masculine and we have the divine feminine on top that are coming together and marrying the two into one. So we have these frequencies that are coming together. This word, so it says the harpists that knock, that are harping, comes from a word that means a soft seat, a chair with a back, and it specifically has to do with the seat of Moses.
Mm.
Now, I don't know that you may not connect to that, Jesse, and that's totally okay, but I think Regina might connect to that.
Yeah, the seat of Moses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not well biblically
No, and that's
schooled.
okay. So Yeshua said that don't do what the Pharisees do, but when they sit in the seat of Moses, hear and do all that they say. Okay. When the Pharisees would sit in the seat of Moses, they would be reading from the Torah. As the only time they would sit in the quote unquote the seat of Moses. So really what Yeshua was saying is he was saying to hear and do the frequency of that which they are presenting from you through the letters of light, but don't do the things that they do because they're being hypocrites. They're putting other burdens on you. Don't pay attention to all that. There's no life. There's no light in what they tell you to do from the Talmud. Do, hear and do, Shema, Tav, what is being shared with you from Moses' seat, because they are reading directly from that which is given you, the Torah, the instructions that point the way so you can at least get the golden rule. That's what Torah means. It's Yara with a Tav on front of it. The instructions to the golden rule. You have to have that first. Listen to that so that I can teach you the more. So they're sitting in the seat, Kitar. And what are they doing? They're trying to connect you to the door of the inner man so they can teach you the way of one. And what are they doing? They're knocking. They are the judges that are coming and knocking. Hello, open your heart, go through the door of the inner man through the spiritual path so that you can press light within, which is the consuming fire that you need, so that you, now there's a bet in front of this, so that you can build yourself, you can build your temple through the bet tov, the 222 path. So that
the generator.
Yeah, so that you can connect yourself to the revelation of Father and given the power of the right hand of Father, where you will be graciously giving this to other people. So the harpist, this has nothing to do with playing a harp. It's about sitting in the place of authority, teaching from that which is being given to you, the instructions of Mother and Father, the golden rule and unconditional love through the letters of light. The Torah to the Torot. That's what this is saying. And they're knocking on your heart saying, hello, can you hear me? They're calling out to you. Can you hear me? And this is what the 144,000 do. So now we know what the 144,000 do. This is their whole purpose. So they're saying, Shema Israel, hear and do and listen to these words. Listen to the Father's covenant. Understand about unconditional love so you can become it. Those who have ears to hear. Remember we were talking about the Adon to the Ozen? The Adon having to do with sovereignty. The ears that would hear sovereignty. If you have the ears to hear this and the eyes to see it, I'm trying to knock on your heart and say there's a way. There's a way for all of this. I'm going to use all these different measures to get your attention, and I'm going to continue doing this until someone actually wants to hear it and do it. And this is where, Regina, you and I were talking about the other day about obedience, right? Had to do with faith. Hear and do, be obedient. It's not the level of the obedience that we think it is. It was like somebody's beating us over the head with a stick. It's an invitation for us to go into the language that will empower us so that we can be of the wedded ones. Oh, there's so much more. There's so much more. We have a little bit more time. I'm going to go a little deep. Are you okay if I keep going deeper?
I am.
Definitely.
So I'm just giving you guys an overview of this. We're not like digging really deep in the words. I'm just wanting to get our heads wrapped around who the 144,000 is, what their purpose is. And I'm going to land with a bombshell, and then we'll have to continue next week in excavating the wise and foolish virgins, because there's a huge, deep connection here between the Kayutha, the beast of revelation, who the 144,000 are, and the passage of the wise and foolish virgins. There is a huge connection on all of this for those who would have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. And I hate using that as a religious term because I don't mean it to be religious, because I know what I'm saying when I say it. And it has nothing. It's an invitation. It's an invitation for people to come in and come up a little higher for what is being shared in the latter days, because we definitely are in the latter days right now.